welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the future of jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And we're basing this deep dive on the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs Report 2025.
Yeah, this report is really interesting.
Okay.
Because it doesn't just, rely on speculation or kind of like, futurology.
Right.
It's actually based on a really huge survey of over 1,000 employers.
Wow.
Representing 14 million workers around the world.
Okay, so 14 million workers.
Yeah.
That's a lot of data.
A lot of data.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So we can...
Let's get down to it.
Yeah.
What do people really want to know when they think about the future of jobs?
Yeah.
What are the jobs that are going to be up and coming and which ones are maybe fading away?
Exactly.
So that's where we're going to focus today.
Yeah, and I think what's really interesting is that, a lot of people think, the fastest growing jobs are all going to be in, Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily the case.
Okay, interesting. So before we jump into the specific jobs, can you give us just like the really high-level overview of what are the major kind of forces shaping the workforce?
Absolutely. So the report identifies 5 what they call macro trends that are really kind of driving these shifts. And it's everything from technological advancements to economic uncertainty, geoeconomic fragmentation, the green transition, and even demographic changes.
These are like the big currents that are moving
exactly.
the entire job market.
Currents moving the entire job market.
Okay, I like that analogy.
Yeah.
All right, so
those are like the big kind of tectonic plates shifting.
So what's the overall outlook then?
Yeah.
How many jobs are we talking about being created or lost?
Well, the report projects that by 2030, there will be a net increase of 78 million jobs globally.
Wow. Okay.
Now, it's important to note that this focuses specifically on formal jobs.
Formal jobs.
Yeah, so that means jobs with, contracts and regulations.
Okay. So it doesn't capture the entire, global workforce.
So there's like a whole other layer of informal work that isn't even included here.
Right, exactly.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Does the report talk at all about how these trends might be impacting those informal jobs?
Unfortunately, it doesn't really go into, the informal sector specifically.
Right.
However, I think we can kind of, infer that these same forces that are shaping formal jobs are also going to be impacting, informal work as well.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get to like the heart of it.
Yeah, let's get to the meat.
The fastest growing jobs.
Okay.
Where are the biggest opportunities out there?
Okay, well, as you might expect, the top spots are really dominated by tech roles.
Okay.
So you're talking about, Fintech Engineers, AI and machine learning specialists, and software and application developers.
Seems like every company wants to be a tech company these days. Yeah. Right, exactly. And so there's just this huge demand.
Makes sense.
For these types of roles.
Yeah.
And I mean, as technology just keeps advancing, this is only going to, continue to grow.
Yeah.
But here's something that might surprise you.
Okay.
Light truck or delivery services drivers are also projected to see really significant growth.
So not exactly what I picture when I think future of work.
Right.
Why is that?
Well, I think it's really a result of a bunch of different things all happening at the same time.
Okay.
You've got the rise of e-commerce. You've got changing consumer habits.
Right.
And then this whole like on-demand economy, everyone wants things, delivered to their door right now.
Right.
So all of these things are contributing to this, increased need for delivery services.
Makes sense.
And I think it also highlights that, not all job growth is concentrated in these, highly skilled,
tech-driven fields.
It's a good reminder that even in a digital world, there's still a lot of demand.
Absolutely.
For those essential services, for those hands-on roles.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think, speaking of essential services, the green transition is also, creating entirely new sectors with really significant growth potential.
Yeah.
So
give us some examples.
Yeah, so you're talking about things like autonomous and electric vehicle specialists, environmental engineers, renewable energy engineers.
So for folks out there who are passionate about sustainability, tackling climate change, there are going to be a lot of opportunities in this green sector.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a field where, your purpose and your passion can really align with professional growth.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
And talk about the other side of the coin.
All right.
The jobs that are facing decline. Yeah, this is where things might get a little bit, uncomfortable for some people. Yeah. But I think it's important to, to understand where these shifts are happening.
Yeah, for sure.
So, many of the fastest declining jobs are in kind of like the clerical and administrative categories. So you're talking about bank tellers, data entry clerks, administrative assistants.
So these are jobs that are increasingly being automated or outsourced.
Exactly. Yeah.
So automation really having a significant impact.
Yeah, it is.
On some types of jobs.
Right.
How do you see this playing out in the long term?
Well, that's a really complex question.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to remember that it's not, robots taking over all the jobs.
Right.
It's not as simple as that.
Yeah.
Automation is going to displace some roles.
Sure.
But it's also going to create new ones, particularly in fields related to, developing, managing, and maintaining these technologies.
So it's about adaptability.
Absolutely.
It's about
continuous learning.
Continuous learning, yeah.
Yeah.
So not about fearing the robots, but about figuring out how to work with them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to be thinking about how can we complement and augment human skills with technology rather than seeing them as, mutually exclusive.
Right.
They can work together.
This makes me think about the whole formal versus informal jobs thing we talked about earlier.
Right.
If these trends are impacting formal jobs so much, I mean, what does that mean for folks who are doing informal work?
That's a crucial point.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's one that the report doesn't really, address in detail.
Right.
But I think it really highlights the need for, more research, more policy attention to the challenges that informal workers are facing in this, rapidly evolving job market.
It seems like there's a risk of making existing inequalities worthless.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
We need to ensure that the benefits of, technological advancements and economic growth are shared equitably.
Right.
And that everyone has the opportunity to, thrive in the future of work.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about the jobs that are on the rise, the jobs that are maybe facing decline.
Right.
I'm curious to know, what are some of the skills and qualities that make someone successful in these growing fields?
That's a great question, and that's actually something that we're going to delve into in much more detail in the next part of our deep dive.
Right.
But to give you a little sneak peek, some of the most in-demand skills are going to include things like, technical proficiency, adaptability, problem-solving abilities, and strong communication skills.
So it sounds like it's kind of a blend of hard skills and soft skills.
Exactly. It's not enough to just, be technically proficient.
Right.
You also need to be able to, think critically, communicate effectively, and collaborate seamlessly with others.
So those who can kind of bridge the gap between the technology and the human connection
absolutely
are going to be really highly sought after.
They're going to be the ones, driving innovation, solving those complex problems, and really shaping the future of work.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
And we'll be right back with more on the future of jobs. Sounds good. Welcome back to the deep dive.
Yeah.
So we've explored which jobs are growing, which ones are declining.
Right.
But now let's dig a little deeper into the skills that are going to be essential for actually thriving in this evolving job market.
Absolutely. So, those 5 macro trends that we talked about earlier, well, they're not just shaping what jobs exist, but also the skills that those jobs require.
It's like those trends are rewriting the job descriptions.
Exactly. They're rewriting the job descriptions of the future.
Of the future, yeah.
Yeah.
So what skills are top of the list right now?
Yeah, so the report actually reveals, I think, a really fascinating blend of, some skills that have always been sought after and some that are, really gaining prominence.
Okay.
So, at the forefront, you have things like analytical thinking, creative thinking, and leadership.
I mean, those have always been.
Always been, yeah.
Sought after qualities. Right?
They have, but I think they're becoming even more crucial now.
Why is that?
Well, just because of the complexity and the rapid evolution of today's, work environment.
Right.
You need people who can really, analyze information, generate innovative ideas,
Right.
and lead teams effectively.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm also seeing,
Yeah.
resilience, flexibility, agility,
Oh, absolutely.
all kind of high up on the list as well.
I mean, in a world of constant disruption,
Yeah.
the ability to, adapt to new situations, learn quickly, bounce back from setbacks is just paramount.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are the skills that are valued today.
Right.
What about the future?
Yeah.
As we move towards 2030,
Okay.
which skills are going to be most in demand then?
All right, well, hold on tight because the report predicts a surge in demand for tech skills over the next 5 years.
I knew it.
Yeah.
AI taking over everything, right?
Well, AI and big data are certainly major players.
Okay.
I mean, they're right at the top of the list of, fastest growing skills.
Yeah.
But it's not just about coding.
Oh.
It's about, understanding how to utilize these technologies effectively, ethically,
Right.
and
Right.
creatively.
Okay, so even if I'm not a software engineer,
Yeah.
I should still be thinking about how AI could impact
Absolutely.
humanity.
In fact, the ability to leverage AI is becoming, crucial across a wide range of industries.
Yeah.
From healthcare and finance to marketing and beyond.
Yeah. Okay, tech skills essential.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's a big one.
But what about those like more human-centered skills?
Yeah.
We're talking about, communication, collaboration,
Yeah.
emotional intelligence.
Right.
Are those still relevant in this increasingly digital world?
More than ever.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, the report actually highlights an interesting tension
Okay.
between the rising demand for tech skills and the enduring importance of these human-centered skills.
Tension. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it's a balancing act.
Okay.
We need individuals who are both, tech savvy,
Right.
but also possess strong interpersonal skills.
Okay.
Think of it as like the intersection
Yeah.
of technology and human connection.
Can you give me like a concrete example
Sure,
of how that plays out?
Yeah. Let's take cybersecurity, for example.
Okay.
With our increasing reliance on digital infrastructure.
Right.
And the rise of, cyber threats, the demand for cybersecurity professionals is just skyrocketing.
Right. Right.
But technical know-how alone isn't enough.
What else do you need?
You need strong communication skills.
Okay.
These professionals have to be able to explain complex technical issues to non-technical audiences, like clearly and concisely.
Right.
They also need to be able to collaborate effectively with, teams
Right.
across departments, across countries even.
So it's about bridging that gap
Bridging that gap, exactly.
between the tech world and the human world.
Exactly. And we see this trend in so many different fields.
Yeah.
The ability to, translate technical jargon
Right.
into, understandable language, to build relationships,
Right.
to foster collaboration.
Yeah.
This is becoming so incredibly valuable.
I'm getting the message loud and clear.
Yeah.
Tech skills are crucial,
Yes.
but don't neglect
those human skills.
those human-centered skills.
Yeah. And in fact, the report even suggests that those human-centered skills might actually become even more valuable as technology advances.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why is that? I think.
It seems counterintuitive, right?
Yeah, like as machines become more capable,
Yeah.
human skills will become less important.
Right. But think about it this way. If machines can automate all of those routine tasks,
Okay.
what's left for humans to do?
Yeah.
It's those tasks that require, creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence,
Right.
complex problem solving,
Yeah.
the uniquely human abilities.
Things that make us human.
Exactly.
Okay.
So developing these skills is like a smart investment
It is.
in my future career.
Absolutely. I mean, it's about future-proofing your career by cultivating skills that, machines can't easily replicate.
It's like my superpower.
It is your superpower, exactly.
Okay, so this is all starting to click for me.
Good.
But there's still one big question I have.
Which is, if so many jobs are being disrupted by technology,
Yeah.
how do I know which skills to invest in? Like,
Right.
what if I spend years learning something and then it becomes obsolete?
Right, and that's a valid concern.
Yeah.
And I think, the pace of change can feel really overwhelming.
Right.
But instead of trying to, predict the future and chase the latest trends,
Okay.
I think the best advice is to focus on developing transferable skills.
Transferable skills. Tell me more. What are those?
So these are skills that, are sought after in almost every field, regardless of the specific technical requirements.
Right.
And we've already touched on a lot of them, things like communication, collaboration, problem solving, critical thinking, adaptability, resilience.
Right.
All of these are so valuable.
So it's about building that solid foundation.
Exactly. It's about building a solid foundation
that I can then apply to all sorts of
situations
and challenges.
Exactly. And these aren't skills that you just, learn once and forget.
Right.
These are skills that you're constantly developing and refining throughout your career.
So I shouldn't be trying to predict the future, but rather build like a flexible skill set.
Exactly.
That can evolve with the job market.
You got it.
Okay, I like that.
And here's another really interesting insight from the report. It turns out employers are increasingly investing in reskilling and upskilling their existing workforce rather than, just hiring new people who already have the latest skills.
They're recognizing the value of their current employees.
Exactly. They're recognizing the value and they're helping them adapt to the changing demands of their jobs.
It's probably cheaper to reskill somebody.
It often is, yeah.
Than to start from scratch with somebody new.
Right. And plus you retain all of that, valuable institutional knowledge and experience.
Totally, yeah.
So it's a win-win.
This is encouraging. So even if my job is disrupted, there's a good chance that, my company will invest in me.
Yeah. Well, it obviously depends on, the specific industry and company.
Sure.
The trend is definitely moving towards a greater emphasis on employee development and lifelong learning.
Yeah. So the future of work, while uncertain, isn't necessarily bleak.
No, not at all.
It's about being proactive, adaptable, embracing lifelong learning.
You got it. And remember, the skills you develop today will likely be valuable in ways that you can't even imagine yet.
Right.
So stay curious, stay engaged, and just embrace the journey.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
We've talked about the major trends, the jobs that are rising, the jobs that are declining.
Right.
The skills that are going to be most in demand.
Yeah.
But now I want to shift a little bit from analysis to action.
Okay, yeah.
We've kind of explored the landscape. Now it's time to chart a course.
I like that analogy.
Okay, so where do we even begin?
Right.
I mean, the job market feels like this giant, constantly shifting puzzle.
It can feel that way.
Yeah.
But the good news is you don't have to solve the whole puzzle at once.
Okay.
Just focus on the pieces that are most relevant to you.
Okay, that feels a little bit more manageable.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
what are some strategies, like, for folks out there like me who want to stay ahead of the curve and actually thrive in this rapidly changing job market?
Yeah, well, the report actually offers some really great advice.
Okay.
And it boils it down to 3 key areas.
All right.
Upskilling, networking, and embracing a mindset of lifelong learning.
All right, so let's start with upskilling.
Okay.
We've touched on this a little bit, but what does it actually mean to upskill in today's world?
So upskilling is really about, proactively developing new skills and knowledge that are relevant to, either your current job or the job that you aspire to have.
So this could involve taking like online courses, attending workshops, getting certifications, even just like reading industry publications.
Exactly. And I think the beauty of upskilling is that there are just so many resources available.
Okay.
And a lot of them are, free or low cost.
So no more excuses.
No more excuses.
For sitting back and letting the job market pass us by.
Right. It's about taking charge of your career and being proactive.
Okay, so I'm on board with upskilling.
Okay.
But is networking still important?
Yeah.
In our digital age?
I would say more than ever.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, networking is still one of the best ways to, discover new opportunities, to gain insights into different industries, and to really build relationships with people who can, support your career growth.
And with so many, online platforms, virtual events, it's more accessible.
It is more accessible and less intimidating for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to be a social butterfly.
Right, exactly.
Or go to these, like, stuffy conferences to build a network.
Engaging online, joining professional groups, attending webinars, connecting with people who, inspire you.
Right.
all of that contributes to building a strong network.
So it's about building those relationships.
It is. It's not about, collecting business cards or LinkedIn connections.
Right.
It's about having genuine conversations.
Right.
Sharing ideas. Yeah. Supporting each other's growth.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the third piece of advice is to embrace a mindset of lifelong learning.
Yes.
That sounds like something you'd see on a motivational poster.
It does. It does sound a little cliche, but it really is a crucial mindset shift.
Okay, convince me.
Okay.
What does it mean to be a lifelong learner?
So it's really about acknowledging that learning isn't confined to, school or the beginning of your career.
Right.
It's an ongoing process.
Yeah, it's about staying curious, being open to new ideas.
Exactly.
Constantly seeking out opportunities to...
The learn and grow.
Learn and grow, yeah.
And in this, rapidly changing job market, this mindset is just essential for staying relevant and adaptable.
It's like I have this mental upgrade button that I can keep pressing.
I love that.
I love
that, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the best...
But the best part is lifelong learning doesn't have to be a chore.
Right.
It can actually be, fun and rewarding.
Right. Learn a new language, pick up a musical instrument, explore a new hobby. It's about keeping your mind engaged.
Keeping your mind engaged, expanding your horizons.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So we've talked about strategies for, individuals.
But what about organizations?
Yeah.
What role do they play in helping their workforce navigate these changes?
That's a great question.
So we talked about reskilling, upskilling programs.
Right.
What else can organizations be doing?
Well, the report highlights a couple of other key strategies.
Okay.
And one is to really create a culture of learning and development.
So it's not just about offering the program.
It's not just about the program.
It's about fostering that environment.
Exactly. It's about creating an environment where learning is valued.
Right.
And encouraged, Yeah. So organizations should be providing employees with, the time and resources for professional development, recognizing those who invest in their learning, cultivating a culture of mentorship and knowledge sharing.
Yeah. And I imagine, embracing flexible work arrangements.
Oh, absolutely.
Is huge as well.
I mean, the pandemic really forced a lot of organizations to adopt, remote and hybrid work models. And it's really changed, I think, how we view, work-life balance and flexibility.
And it's not just about where people work, but when and how they work.
Exactly. Yeah. So, organizations that embrace these flexible work arrangements are going to be able to attract and retain top talent.
Especially in a competitive job market.
Yeah. And it can actually boost productivity and employee morale.
Win-win.
It's a win-win for everyone.
There's great strategies.
Yeah.
But let's be realistic. Implementing these things takes time.
It does.
Resources, a willingness to change.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. But I think the cost of doing nothing is far greater.
What do you mean?
I mean, organizations that fail to adapt, they risk, falling behind their competitors, losing top talent, becoming irrelevant.
So adapt or become a dinosaur.
Yeah, maybe not that drastic. But the point is, the future of work is really in our hands.
It's up to both individuals and organizations to embrace change.
Yes.
To invest in learning.
Right.
To create a more, equitable and sustainable future of work.
Well said. I think that's a perfect note to wrap up our deep dive into the future of jobs.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this exploration.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
We hope you gained some valuable insights.
Yes.
And that you feel inspired to take action.
Absolutely.
So remember, the future is not something that happens to us.
Right.
It's something we create together.
We create it.
So let's get to work, shaping the future of work.
Let's do it.